so welcome to day 3 of week 4. The first time we've got the three amigos together for the week. And how you doing, Doug?
I'm good. I'm quite hot. I think it's still about 30 degrees here, so at midnight. So.
All right, you got all the painting finished?
There's a little bit to do inside. It's nothing.
All right, okay. And you sorted your drop box out. We'll get you back behind the mic next week, will we?
Yeah, I think so. I think it all just download automatically now, so we'll see.
That'll be good. What about you, Stu? How you been doing this week? You been partying and stuff and everything?
Good. I had still getting over a birthday party, a friend of mine on the weekend in our Cactus Juice Club.
Oh, well.
So the after effects.
that sounds pretty good. I'm still suffering from the after effects of the snow. I haven't been able to get out for 2 days, so
it's not melted yet.
It's not melted at all. No, it's quite annoying. Really, I have got to go into town this week at some point, and I had a shopping delivery yesterday. The man from Morrison's managed to fight his way through with about 14 buckets of wine, so that was good. So I don't really need to go out for anything, but I have got to go and do some banking, so I might have to saddle the horse up and take the cart into town or something if the weather doesn't get any better. But we'll see what happens.
Life of the rich, getting their food delivered to them.
Go Bear Grylls.
Yeah, I can definitely do a shameless plug for Morrison's. They are pretty good at delivering. They always give you free stuff as well. They turned up yesterday with my shopping right through the snow, and I got a free tiny little bottle of vodka and some Christmas biscuits, which are sort of like free gift for ordering from them. So they're pretty good, Morrison's. Anyway,
pretty festive.
It is. It's jolly good. Anyway, back onto the racing. We've had a good week this week, haven't we? Some blooming close finishes and some drama and stuff. What about Molliet Surfer? He must be having I wouldn't know whether he's jumping around dancing or whether he's sitting there crying. What do you reckon?
I think he's doing both. I think he's dancing and crying at the same time.
Yeah, 2 disqualified in 2 weeks, and he wins back to Group 1 yesterday as well. I don't know whether that was his first Group 1 or what. I know he's definitely on the up this year, isn't he? And I seem to remember that, didn't you call that right at the beginning, Doug, that he was going to be a man to watch this year?
I think I did. I think Stu may have as well.
Right, that's pretty good then.
Yeah, of course I did.
Oh, that's it. That's definitely then the end of his season. He might as well pack up now, because once Stu's tipped him, that means he's not going to do any good. We've got this new thing. You probably won't have seen it, Doug, because you don't get into the live streams, but there's now something being referred to as the kiss of Stu, which basically is if he says your horse is going to win, it doesn't. So I'm hoping he's going to cheer for Liverpool quite a lot for the rest of the football season as well. I think it's pretty obvious if you look at it, the reason why Molliet Surfer is running into form, because he is our German trainer, isn't he? And there's a World Cup coming up, and Germans and Germany always run into form just in time for a World Cup. So that will be why.
Sure.
He's doing well, so he's doing all right, but he's had a bit of bad luck the last couple of weeks as well. So
he finally put his name up on the forum. Did you notice that? I think his name's Hogar.
Oh right, okay, I didn't notice that.
No, it's the first time I've ever seen him put like Molliet Surfer and then his name.
Oh right, that's good. It's good. We'll have to see if we can get him onto one of these shows. We've got to try and get as many people from as many different countries as we can. There's a lot of people at the moment who are playing the I'm a bit shy card, which I think is a little bit cowardly and weak from some of these sort of people, don't you? Have you seen it? Claiming they don't like the sound of their own voice and all that sort of stuff. That's something that us three could never be accused of, is it? Not liking the sound of our own voice.
It could be you two scaring them.
Well, I suppose it could be. I don't know.
I'm just thinking maybe they just feel that both of you are very, very professional and they won't come across very well. I don't really know,
I doubt it. I mean, if you go back to
most of them are the ones training the winners.
Yeah, if you
I didn't say you were any good at training horses. I was talking about interviews.
Well, if you go back to the very first ones we did, I did Charlie, and me and Charlie had both had a considerable amount to drink when we did it, and it came out okay, so I don't think anybody needs to worry too much. And again, to be perfectly honest, I remember we had a bit of a laugh about this when I started interviewing John Morgan last year. For the first 10 minutes I did not understand a word he said, but we managed to get through that okay. So I don't think anybody needs to worry too much at all. And I think it was, which one of yours was it, Doug? Was it Derek or Josh that went on for ages and ages and ages? It took me about 2 weeks to edit it. It was that much in there. So once they got going, there's no stopping them.
I thought they paled in comparison to your interview with Charlie.
We've got to try and track Charlie down because he's missing this season, and
we need Charlie back in because his character.
Try and get Charlie back in as well. Anyway, let's have a look at some races, shall we? Because nobody's had too much waffling from us this week, but that's probably enough for now, I suppose. So we've got some big races tonight, some big prize money on offer as well, and the Etihad Airways Irish 1,000 guineas at the Curragh. Small field, but quite a few back from last week. What do you reckon?
Well, I'll go first, shall I? No, it's a fairly small field. I mean, there's the main trainers are in there. Obviously, Paul, Stephen, and Leon and Josh, and Jim Murray, of course. I guess Hans's horse may well go off lickety split, and I'm gonna give tricky. It's between Stephen and Paul. I think You're So Thrilling or Raise the Bar. Who's going to get it? I'm going to go for Stephen and Raise the Bar. He'll love me for this. I've only been out a couple of times. It does say there's no pacemaking to contend with, but I thought maybe Conor Me was a pacemaker in the 1,000 guineas in the UK, but I'm not 100% certain about that. But I'll go for Raise the Bar.
Okay. What about you, Doug?
I'm going to back Josh's horse in Burn, Hollywood Burn. I don't know why. I just think these couple of eights there, and I don't know, it's a funny game, this one, and horses that don't do something for a bit all of a sudden bob up, so I'm going with Burn Hollywood. Yeah,
interesting. That would be a maiden taking a classic. That would be interesting. I'm going to go for Turquoise Velez, Darren Thompson. I think Darren Thompson's horses are running really well this season, and I think he will bag this one. Paul Rose his horse will probably go off favourite, I would think, but I'm going to go with Turquoise Velez.
So who got the Kiss of Stew? Sorry, I missed it.
Steve Rand's horse, Raise the Bar.
Like Steve.
Right, on to the 2,000 then. A slightly bigger field for this one. I'll let you have first crack at this one, Doug.
I'm in a long shot mood.
Yeah?
I'm going to go Hanau Miller, Martin Gans.
Well, that is a long shot, that one. That one's sort of probably a good price, that one, I would think. There's probably ones that wouldn't have expected you to go for that one, but that's interesting. What about you, Steve?
Usually I go for the big trainers, but I'm going different.
Well, I'd be surprised if Cape Thorne didn't win it. It was exceptional in the Guinness, 2,000 Guinness last week. I mean, it really was. So sadly, Paul, I'm going to tip Cape Thorne. I think it'll probably be between him and Jim. I don't think anyone else is going to get into it. I think it's going to be between Paul and Jim Murray. But I'm going to stick my neck out and go for Cape Thorne.
Right, that is sticking your neck out in a really big way, that, isn't it? That is probably the bravest selection I've heard for many a long time.
And I'm going to get one right at some point.
And I'm going to go for it as well, because it did come with a rattle last week, didn't it? And if it does that again, it should win quite easily, I would think. So, yeah, sadly, we have to go for the same one there. So it gets the kiss of Stu, and it also gets tipped by me as well. So we might as well withdraw it now, I would think. So let's go transatlantic then next, shall we? We'll skip across the old sea and not go to Wolverhampton, which is the next race. We'll miss that one out. We'll go to the Preakness Stakes in Baltimore. Now, I was surprised by this race because I was going to put one in this, but I couldn't because he wasn't rated high enough. This is one of the first races that's got a minimum rating, I think, isn't it? So I'm pretty sure one or two of the horses in this card are going to get scratched.
So what is the minimum rating?
Well, the minimum rating, I think the minimum rating was something like, it might have been 100, it might have been 90. If it was 90, then it's just going to be Sirius, Chills and Jamie Hopkins horses that are going to get scratched. But if it was 100, then the bottom four are going. It's an interesting idea, this minimum rating. I can't say as I'm overly in favour of it because it's I don't quite see why it's necessary, because we don't get huge fields and you'd automatically take out the minimum ratings if you had too many horses in. I think we should just be applying the normal the track limit. Every track's got a limit as to what it can hold, and that's what it should be. Like we shouldn't this week have been having such huge fields going around Chester. Some of those horses should have been eliminated out. So anyway, different subject altogether. Preakness Stakes then, it is what it is. What do we reckon?
We'll let you go first.
It's difficult to say, isn't it, really, because you never know with these American races how they're going to go, or when they're going to get boxed in, or whether they're going to go around the outside. So you've got to be looking for something that's been on the dirt already, which means Stephen Rand's not going to be very happy with me, but I'm going to tip him because that ran really well the other week, but it did get boxed in. So if it gets out into the front, it might do okay. So I'll go for Protagonist. Pretty boring selection, but there you go.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I don't. I think Protagonist didn't he run in the Derby?
He did.
I'm not sure. I think the speed will be against him, so I'm going to go for. And I'm going to go a little bit out of the box here as well, because Hans has got two in this. I wonder if he's good enough to have worked it out that one of them's a bit of a pacemaker, and then the other one comes up. So I'm going to go for one of Hans's, and I'm actually going to go for Secret Maestro, which is right down the bottom. And actually might not be in if it's 100 up. Oh,
maybe you better pick 2.
It might not be. I think I'm pretty sure it's 90, but it might be 100. I can't remember. Probably we should have checked before we started. But
I was trying to skip through the forum as we speak, but I can't find the post. Okay, if that wasn't trying to not be the same in Marty Kent has got a couple in there. So okay, Neo Universe will be my other choice. Sorry, Martin.
Oh, you've just given the kiss of death to a scratching, and
of course, the fact that they're supposed to be scratched doesn't necessarily mean the bloke running the race will have realised that, so they probably ended up running anyway.
I'm going to go Belgrade, Darren Thompson.
Yeah, interesting.
So Paul Rhodes will win then.
First and second, most definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that race. I don't know whether those bottom ones do get in or not, and what happens. I don't know whether we're being a bit unfair, actually, when we keep going on about Hans and his pacemakers, because I don't necessarily know as they are, because one of them, the other day, that ran exactly the same way when it was in the race on its own as it did when it was in as a 2. So I'm not so sure he's actually running as a pacemaker for his other horse. I think he's just putting it in there because he thinks he's got a chance of winning. I think it set the 2 races up.
Horses,
I'm just
thinking most of his horses are are leaders.
Yeah, I think they are.
He could have well exported them as front runners to see what happens.
Yeah, so I really don't think he's putting one in to try and set the race up for the other one. I really don't think he's doing that at all.
I like to think people are thinking like that. I like that excitement. Sorry. Like a strength trainer.
If you think about the AO of the jockeys, we saw some pretty dopey jockeyship this week, and there's a bit more to come, I would think, this week as well. The AO of the jockeys isn't set up to be able to understand what a pacemaker was there for anyway, so I just think it would be a complete waste of time to try and put anything to the pacemaker, because they don't take any notice, do they? They don't necessarily all go really fast just because one's going really fast. They just let it go off on its own. I don't really think I think that's a bit of a red herring. Everybody's just seeing and thinking, it's something to sort of talk about and whatever.
Something to talk about, yeah.
I don't really think it's happening at all. Unless, of course, I think it is a situation on there, I think, where you can, in the game, I think you can set your horse up as a pacemaker, can't you? But nobody is going to export their horse as a pacemaker for the whole season, are they? I mean, that would just be bonkers.
The BMW.
Is that sponsored by BMW? Or does that mean something completely different?
Definitely sponsored by BMW. They used to be called the H.E. Tancred Stakes, and then it's been known as the BMW for some years.
Right, so you got anything to tell us about this race, Doug? It's one of the Grade 1 handicaps, isn't it, for a start off? So interesting.
I think in real life it's weight for age. What have we got it in the game? It's a handicap in the game. Yeah, it's a weight for age in real life, so it'd be set weights. Overlooking that, first run in 1963. It's one of the biggest Sydney races. Big Australian names to win at Kingston Town is there. It's an absolute champ. Bone Crusher. There's some great Aussie horses. There's just probably actually too many to read out. Octagonal, Tie the Knot. Hartnell won it 2015. So yeah, it's a really good race to win, and in the single player game, it's a great race to win as well. Especially horses usually bounce up in rating, winning the BMW in the game.
All right, what are we looking for in this? Are we looking for a proper mile and a half horse, or are we looking for a mile and a quarter horse that stays a mile and a half, or is it a stiffer test of stamina where you want a mile and 3/4 horse?
I think you just go with the mile and 4 furlong horse. In this, I think you want to have a little bit more kick at the end, bit of stamina at the end. The racetrack in the game's medium tight, tightest track we'll see. So, most will get a chance.
Right, that's going to be an interesting looking race. I don't think have any of us got it. You two have got one. You two got any chance of picking up the prize?
No, I doubt it. No. It's a little bit too far for mine, I think.
Mine will get the distance, but whether it'll get the distance fast enough is the story, and I don't doubt it very much.
So there's a strong possibility then of your
50.
I think there's a strong possibility of your two horses finishing 7th and 8th in race 36 rather than race 35.
All right then, don't be careful. It's not that bad. Mind you, 5th place must be Oh, well, it's a fairly big field, and a lot of people, there's some good comments on here. They all think they might have a chance with their weight. I mean, both Paul Rhodes. I mean, the Paul Rhodes horse has had one run, and I mean, Paul's horses, you know, even if it came fifth, it's a winner probably. But maybe the 3-year-olds, I tend to always think in these ones that where we have 3 and 4-year-olds, that the 4-year-olds will just do a little bit better. So that rules Paul's horse out. I'm going to go for Jim's Bright Star Girl. Good luck, Jim.
Bad luck, Jim. The kisses do.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because with the weight and everything, and I just think with the week that he's having, I'm gonna have a sneaky outside bet on Molliette Surfer and Your Hands in Mine. It's only ever had one race and come 7th. So it's probably not very good. But he's been in the middle of everything this week. I think I can't really think of anything else that I think will win. Any of those could be good. I mean, we know the top trainers have got good horses. Darren Thompson, as I've said already, his horses are running really well this year. Steve Rand's come back and his horses looks to be pretty good. Jim is doing really well, although he does come second quite a lot. Paul Rhodes getting £12 off the top one. It's really sort of dangerous to not back that one, isn't it? Really, but it's too boring to keep picking the same people. So yeah, let's see if Molliette Surfer can top his week off with a bang.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bond Street. I just think it's just that little bit lower rated for a Paul Rhodes horse. It's had one start. I don't know where that start was. It's probably an excuse there, and yeah, I think he'll win it. And I'll put Kevin Minahan's My Lady in there as a long shot.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most sensible sort of choice. I think if you were betting with your real money, you'd be putting it on Bond Street, wouldn't you, if you had to have a bet, because you don't very often see Paul Rhodes horses getting the best part of a stone off anybody else's, do you? So got to be in with a chance for that one. Okay, so on to race 36 then. This is the Golden Slipper. Is this the richest race in the world these days, Doug, or something?
It's the richest 2-year-old race in the world.
Right.
And in saying that, it's also the biggest 2-year-old race in Australia, as you would imagine. And it's a big fight between Victoria and New South Wales. It's like America and Mexico or whatever, fighting over the border for the best race. Yeah, but the Golden Slipper is the premium one. It's first run in 1957. It's won by the great Podman, and God, there's good horses that have won it. Storm Queen, Sweet Embrace, Baguette Vane, the champion Vane, one of the early great sprinters. Luskin Star, pretty sure Luskin Star broke a track record on a heavy track, so crazy horse. Manicato, there's just so many. Masqué, Bounding Away, I think that may have gone overseas. Kenny Ladd, there's too many. There's too many to read out. It's just a big money race.
Right. Is this the first time we've had this one in the league?
It definitely is.
Yeah, so it's a good addition, and then maybe looking at the field, there's only 10 or so, is there? Maybe 1 or 2 people haven't quite cottoned on to how much money it's worth and how important it is. So maybe next season it'll have a few more people entering it, but it's certainly a big prize, isn't it? And
I was a little bit surprised the field size wasn't a bit bigger because of the money aspect. Because we don't have the breakdown for fifth in front of us, but fifth's going to be taking home a lot of money.
Yeah, and there's going to be a good chance of that being one of the lesser lights, maybe. Although looking at it, there are 5, 6, 7 top trainers in there, so I'm sure they'll probably end up taking it all home with them as usual, and then there'll be just sort of me and Daniel at the back, not getting a lot. So, what do we like then, Doug? Are you commentating on these Australian races this week, or are you taking a week off?
I'm letting Mike do them, so that's all good. It wouldn't have worked out anyway. After the debacle of last weekend with Dropbox.
We just ended up doing them anyway, Martin.
Yep, thanks for that. Much appreciated.
It made an interesting sort of Sunday. To me, didn't work out anything like it was supposed to do at all, because I was supposed to be going for a great day out, Liverpool, Everton, and then Man City, Man United, and whatever, and then coming back, watching the live stream, and then doing my commentating. I woke up in the morning, I looked out the window, and I thought, oh dear. And there was still snow, and there was snow everywhere, and then the phone started ringing. Are we going or not? I don't think we better. We might never get home. And then I opened my emails up, and it was, Doug can't do his calls, his computer's broken. I thought, oh crikey, we're going to have to do these now. So we ended up spending the day commentating and listening to it on the radio, which was a little bit weird rather than what we were supposed to do, but it all turned out okay.
1950s, wasn't it?
All turned out okay in the end.
We were going old school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was definitely a penalty.
Well,
Even on the radio, you could see it was a penalty. That's all I'm saying.
It's a soft penalty.
There's no such thing as a soft penalty. It's either a penalty or it isn't.
Man City with their 2 very fortunate goals. Gee.
Yeah, we might as well give them the title now, I think. And you know, there's only one team this season that's taken any points off them. And do you know who it is?
Oh, not Everton, is it?
It is, yeah. Second game of the season. It's a 1-1 draw, and we were beating them 1-0 till quite close to the end as well. So there you go. Anyway, back to the horse racing and the Golden Slipper. And what do we reckon then, Doug? You're the hometown boy for this, so you can go first.
Righty, I'm going to go John Morgan's horse, Flashy Wings.
Good call.
Good call, yeah. Go on then, Martin, you can go second.
Well, I'm sort of going to say exactly the same thing, because I'm going to apply my rule of real racing to this, and I'd never oppose an unbeaten horse. So, Flashy Wings.
Yeah. I mean, if I was really putting my own money on it, then yeah, Flashy Wings would be the one. But I'm going to go for Motorhead for Carl Arroganti.
Yeah, I reckon Carl Arroganti must be a.
It's a bit of a surprise, although it did run in the same maiden as Flashy Wings on heavy ground, and it was I think about a length and a half behind. And supposedly Carl says it acts on very soft ground, which makes you think Flashy Wings can win on anything. But I still go for Motorhead, Carl Arroganti.
He's on his second season again. He was the first season person with me last year. We had a bit of a sort of friendly rivalry throughout the season, and his horses have come on really well this year. He got his first big chase win yesterday, and I think he must be some sort of closet rocker as well, because he got Motorhead as his name, and I think he's got one or two other Motorhead connections in some of his other names. So that's good.
That's good.
I thought that was somebody that liked cars.
Well, yeah, I think.
Motorbikes wouldn't.
Every week, Stu, your musical credibility goes further and further down the line with not knowing who Ronnie James Dio was, and now not knowing who Motorhead are.
I can sing.
I don't think Gray thinks you can after the other night, but I'm just going to put down a challenge now to all of us. I know you will have heard it still. I don't know whether you will, Doug, because I don't know whether you got it in Australia. But did you get that secret lemonade drinker advert?
No.
Right, well, I'll put it in one of the review shows so you can hear it, because if that horse wins, whoever's commentating has got to sing that as it passes the post. That is sort of a commentator's challenge. It's a really sort of bad Elvis Presley impression. Oh, yeah, definitely. And that includes Tim as well, so we might have to sort of send him a video of the secret lemonade drinker from the 1970s. So, Flashy Wings for most of us then, Motorhead for the non-rocking Stu.
Kiss of Stu.
Now I'm going to win one tonight, you watch.
Right, so the next one then we've got is, we've got a couple of bonuses at the back, haven't we? Are these big ones as well? £1 million race, Blue Diamond Stakes at Caulfield.
That's the one. Okay. I'll give you a bit of a background on it. It's obviously $1 million race in the game, 1.5 million Australian in real life. First run in 1971, won by Tolerance. Out of Danger was a good horse. Blazing Saddles, Manicato again, who won the Blue Diamond and Golden Slipper double that year. That's really special. And Manicato was a freak. Rancher, Bounding Away, Midnight Fever. Once again, there's just so many great horses. Redette's Choice, Miracles of Life there in 2013, Pride of Dubai. So let's talk about the track. Caulfield itself in real life is quite a tight track, turning sort of track, and you want to be up on the pace. And in the game, I imagine it'd be sort of similar, so you wouldn't want to be an average horse caught wide or just a horse caught back.
Right. Well, that's going to be quite unfortunate for most of these, because if you look at the form, I can't believe this. I'm just having a look at it now.
Shocking.
And this is a Group 1 race worth £1 million. And there's only a couple of them that have even come second. That is the form of a maiden race on the all-weather, isn't it?
But looking at this, is it not a maximum of 100 or something? Because it's strange with the highest ratings, 98. It makes me think, is it not one of those where we've done a max rating on?
Oh, really?
Well,
shouldn't have done that.
100 rated plus horse in it.
Shouldn't have done that for a Group 1, I don't think, should we? But it's very strange looking at it. I mean, I must admit, I didn't even contemplate entering a horse in this, because you just see that it's a Group 1 and you think, well, no chance, because it's going to be full of all the big boy stuff. But this is a real chance, isn't it, for somebody to bag a Group 1 winner who doesn't normally get one.
Oh, I've just found. Let's have a quick look. What are we in? The Blue Diamond Stakes max rating 100.
Oh, I didn't know noticed that. That's a bit naughty, I think.
I didn't know that either, because I would have put one in.
Well, I think you got to remember it was all part and parcel of the idea that, you know, some of the lower-ended people can get their horses and have a chance in Group 1s. Whether or not it's the right race, I don't know. But, you know, it's part and parcel of all our trials this season, isn't it, with the schedule?
It is, and we're not knocking anybody for doing it. I just don't think we should. Don't really think we should be having 0 to 100 as Group 1s. Let it be worth it.
I would have left this open, and because there's a few other 2-year-old races in the past 2 days. And some of those races were lesser races, and I reckon some of the bigger trainers would have taken their horses into this race, into the Blue Diamond. And
well, a bit of trial and error.
Yep.
You know, with these.
I think next season we'll have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what we think. Back to what we think's going to win. What do we reckon? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it?
It's a lottery.
it is.
We don't have to worry about mine. That's one less to worry about.
I think there's probably quite a few in there we don't need to worry about. I'm going to go for the She Beast. I think Joshua Sutherland, he seems to think he's got a good chance.
No, I'll go for Moylet Surfer. I mean, it hasn't got really any form. Says it's a 7 furlong horse, but he's had his luck. So I'll give him the kiss of death this time.
I'm going to go Hands with a Curry Bandit. Type of track it is, if he can draw well. Hopefully it's one of his leaders.
It's got the best form in the race.
Yeah, it's got the best looking form, hasn't it?
Second and a fourth, yeah.
He doesn't enter his horses in lowly 0 to 70 handicaps, so yeah, I'm going to go with Hands' horse.
Yeah, that'll be
a bit of a dark one.
Be an interesting race, that one, and a lesson to all of us who just look at the fact that it's a Group 1 and think we won't bother entering it. We need to look at the conditions of the race and not just bypass it, because I bet there's a few people who are thinking, crikey, I've got to put one in that and have a chance of winning a Group 1. Anyway, on we go. That was race 37, and that takes us to the final race of the week, which is the Autumn Carnival Handicap. Is this the end of the Autumn Carnival now, Doug? Are all the Australian races done and dusted, or have we got some more to come?
I reckon. I'm not 100% sure, because we did split a few of them up. So this is I think this is a race that Ray's just made up, and 0 to 65, and I'm in it, and you're in it.
Tim's in it.
Tim's in it.
So where are you, Stu? Why haven't you got one in it?
I didn't have anything that was rated 65 or below.
Oh, gonna get you all of a sudden. My horses are too good for a 0 to 65.
No, after this week they won't be.
Well, do you know what? We all have a go at the handicapper and stuff, don't we, for nobbling our horses? But I have to say, I can't believe that my Russian Foxbat has got into this race, because he won twice last season and it's only rated 60. I don't know why. It's just, I think maybe Sirius doesn't like Russian Foxbats or something, and he just gives it a bad rating. But I don't mind, because it's got to be in with a pretty good chance, I think, off that mark, having already won twice. So
I think they've all got a good chance. I think there's not really. I mean, Tim's horse getting £7, well, 7 from the next one up, £7 from yours, and a big £12 from Doug's. I wouldn't be surprised if Tim comes along here and gets his second winner.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, Jamie Hopkins got his first winner this week as well, with Hail to the King.
Yes.
So he could get his second winner as well. Doug could get his.
Or Doug could get his second winner.
He could, and
the top weights.
Top weight in an Australian race, Doug. That's got to be one sort of achievement, isn't it, for you? Tick off your bucket list thing. Top weight in an Australian race.
Every time one of my horses goes top weights and these low handicaps, it just finishes last.
Okay.
So I'm not even picking my horse. How sad is that? I'm just going to go with
5-runner race.
Well, theoretically, Martin's horse. Then I think this is a good race for the 2-3-year-olds in it. Jamie Hopkins and Timothy would be pretty confident, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a bizarrely interesting race for a 0 to 65 handicap. It'll be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Quickly,
Tip your own, Martin. Come on.
I'm not. I can't possibly tip my own. But I will be disappointed if she doesn't win. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So a quick scoot over to the national side of things then, because we are being a little bit naughty this season, and we're not giving enough love to the jumping, I don't think. And there is a big clash on the jumping this tonight, even though it's not actually a jumping race. It's the national flat race, which has got a clash of some titans in it or something, hasn't it? According to Paul and Josh's horses going head to head, supposedly the two best national flat race horses of the season so far.
Do Elite Racing really sponsor that race? I belonged to Elite Racing for a little while back in the UK. Never did any well.
Yeah, I would think they. I would think they probably do. These national flat races. I'm going to go off on one of my rants again there. These national flat races were excruciatingly boring the first season that I was involved. Last season they were good because we changed the rules. This season they're good as well. But I've got a big but about these. I think the next thing we need to do to change these areas, once you've won over hurdles or fences, you shouldn't be allowed to run in them. If you've run a national flat race, yeah, carry on running in them. But I don't like this idea of horses being able to win over hurdles and fences and then coming back and running over a flat race. I don't think that's right, and that would open it up again for some of the lesser trainers to get a winner. So I'm not saying chuck out the ones that have won the national flat races, but I'm saying once you've not running it, but won it, once you've won a hurdle race, you shouldn't be allowed back in the national flat races.
Yeah, no, good point.
I sort of agree.
So, on to this big clash then, and it's Baton Rouge and the Irish Connection, which Paul seems to be setting up on the forums today to be some sort of major clash between two superstars. To be honest, it looks to me as though Baton Rouge is far the better of the two, but what do we think? So, what do you reckon, Doug?
I'm going to go for Jim Murray's horse, Sonic Bridge Boy.
Oh, you're going to go completely miss out the big two.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. Like I say, I'm going to go with my normal thing of don't desert an unbeaten horse. So Baton Rouge looks the one for me. I see you pair have got one in this as well. Arctic Dew and Cush Lee, or is it just called Cush? And it
is just Cush.
Right. So you might pick up some prize money. There's a smallish sort of field, but you're not expecting to.
I'd be. I mean, if it come fourth, fifth, be happy with that. And what's the ground? No, the ground's not ideal for mine. I'd maybe pick up a bit of money. But Arctic Doom must have a chance off the soft.
Yeah, nah. Probably lead to about the 1.5 furlong, 2 furlong, and then just fold up, run last. It'll probably be me and Jamie Hopkins, Les Paul fighting out second last.
Yeah, well, maybe Les Paul will strike the right chord and win.
Or maybe Bullville will have some chocolate and Alex will win. I don't know.
There we go then. So that's the racing today. Then it's looking very much heavy on the side of the flat, isn't it? The most of the jump racing is handicaps and whatnot. And of course we've got another couple of those wacky hunter chases for you today. Still, you'll be going on a helicopter ride round around a track again, no doubt.
It's to Cottenham, where I don't know where Cottenham is. It was something we discussed in the forum last week, and I don't remember where they said it was. But maybe it's crazy Cottenham.
Is it the same place as last week then? Is it, or was that Barbary Castle last week or somewhere?
No, that was Barbary. That was the Barbary Islands. Though I have to say, it was a pretty. They weren't as exciting last week as the week before. But we'll see what happens this week.
Okay, that'll be good. So it's been a good week so far then. Final day coming up shortly, any minute now. As soon as I stop waffling, we'll be hopefully back to normal next week with hot topic and hot horses and all that sort of stuff. It's the Derby next week as well, so we've got to get our top hats on, do a Derby special. So we'll.
Yep, looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to speaking to you both next week then.
That's brilliant.
Righto.
Excellent. Okay, guys, take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
We'll see everybody later.